There is a lot going on with Donald Trump's legal cases, mostly because of him. We have news in the election interference case coming out of New York. We also have learned that he's taking legal action against Justice Merchan and DA Bragg in relation to that case. Also, all is not well with North Carolina Supreme Court. But first, I want to check in on what's happening with the release of Jack Smith's reports about two federal cases against Donald Trump, the documents case in Florida and the January 6th case. If you'll remember, up until yesterday, Donald's personal pocket judge, Aileen Cannon, has been trying to block the release of those reports.
Bring us up to speed now on this latest Justice Department filing related to the reports from Jack Smith's team in election interference and the classified documents. What do we know?
So similarly to this situation where you have parties seeking relief at the same time from two different courts, yesterday, Donald Trump's co-defendants in that Mar-a-Lago documents case went to two courts. They went to Judge Aileen Cannon, who dismissed that case, and they went to the 11th Circuit. They got the relief that they wanted from Judge Cannon. She has stayed the release of the report and even the release of any information from the report. At the same time, the 11th Circuit asked the Department of Justice to respond by this morning to the application that was made to them. In their filing this morning, the Justice Department says, hey, you should vacate what Judge Cannon has done here. You should allow us to release volume 1 of the report, the one dealing with federal election interference. We intend to do so as quickly as we can. And with respect to the other volume, we want the ranking members and the chair of the judiciary committees of both houses of Congress to be able to see it with appropriate redactions for grand jury materials and other things that legally we can't share. But we'd like to give them at least a purview into that.
I'm still not entirely sure why Aileen Cannon has any say in materials, whether or not materials are released in a case she had absolutely nothing to do with. But there has been an important development in this case, which I will get to in a second. First, I would just really appreciate it if you would take a second to like and share this video. Also, please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And after you subscribe, click the bell, because that means you will be alerted every time new videos drop. Doesn't cost anything. If you're listening to our podcast, please like the show, and also give the show a 5-star rating, because it helps other people find our stuff. Thanks. Well, what's the new development? Merrick Garland woke up. Wait, that's not it. What is it? Oh, yeah. He woke up and he remembered that he's still Attorney General of the United States of America. Very exciting. Very exciting. Congratulations. Congratulations, Merrick Garland. Got 13 days left. I'm not entirely sure how you're going to do 3 years work in 13 days, but today was a good start. In a significant development, aforementioned Attorney General Merrick Garland announced his intention to release Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on Donald's involvement in the January 6th insurrection. Emphasized, and this is standard operating procedure for Garland. This is nothing new. There's nothing controversial about this. He emphasized that the public, that's us, and we paid for these reports, by the way. We paid for the prosecutions. We paid for all of it with our tax dollars. The public has a right to know the full scope of Donald's actions and the threats posed to our democracy. So excited he's going to be president. You know what would have been great? Having a trial about all of this. Anyway, his decision counters the obstruction efforts by Donald's legal team, who continue to claim that the investigations into him are politically motivated, which is blatantly false. The report's release will provide a comprehensive account of the events leading up to and during the Capitol attack. Obviously, we know a lot thanks to the Special Select Committee in the House, that the January 6th committee. But there's probably a lot we don't know and deserve to know. Just a quick thing before we move on. We also need to have the other report released, because in some ways we know much less about the stolen highly classified documents case. That was such an egregious assault on American national security, and it is quite despicable that we still know so little. And it's also despicable that the one thing we do know is that Donald was guilty, and there was no trial for that one either. Listen, it's obviously clear in Donald's mind and a lot of his enablers, like aforementioned personal pocket judge Aileen Cannon, that he should have no accountability, that he bears no responsibility for any of this. He's always the aggrieved victim. And that's why he's keeping his attorneys so busy. On Tuesday, his attorneys ran whining to the Supreme Court, seeking a delay in his sentencing in the election interference / hush money case that's scheduled for this Friday, January 10th. His legal team is arguing to the Supreme Court that as president-elect, he should have immunity from criminal proceedings. Let that sink in, especially since he committed his crimes for which he was found guilty before he was elected in November 2016. So this is just another attempt to postpone the sentencing. Check out this clip.
Developing right now, President-elect Donald Trump making another appeal to delay Friday's sentencing in his hush money case. His legal team now asking the U.S. Supreme Court to call off the hearing. It comes after multiple judges denied that same request in the past several days. Mr. Trump was convicted last May on 34 counts of falsifying business records.
You know what happened today? The Supreme Court directed prosecutors in the case to respond to Donald's application by Thursday morning. That's tomorrow morning, which is an indication that the justices may act before the scheduled hearing. First of all, this proves to us that the Supreme Court can act in all due haste when they are so motivated. Remember when it took them 17 years to reach a decision in presidential immunity? They dragged their feet. That was to help Donald run out the clock. However, when Donald needs a quick decision, they're always happy to oblige. And of course, I'm talking about the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority on the Supreme Court. So even though there is no way that the sentencing on Friday should be delayed, you never know with this Supreme Court. And just always hedging his bets, Donald's legal team is also suing Justice Juan Merchan and District Attorney Alvin Bragg, claiming that Merchan exceeded his jurisdiction by denying Donald's assertion of presidential immunity. Again, committed most of the crimes before he was in the Oval Office back in 2016. These actions are obvious attempts to undermine the judicial process while positioning himself above the law, which seems to be one of the few things he's actually good at. Donald's lawyers also argued that Merchan's impartiality is compromised. And this is just another in a long series of attempts to attack judges whose rulings don't favor him. While Donald continues to stall with legal filings in the hope that he can run out the clock for another 13 days, we turn to North Carolina, which has been sort of a harbinger of things to come for a while now. The Republican-dominated legislature, the supermajority of the legislature is Republican, have in the past changed the rules so that incoming gubernatorial candidates who are Democrats have much less power than they would have if they'd have been Republicans. Now there are some not exactly kosher goings on in the North Carolina Supreme Court, which is dominated by MAGA-aligned majority. They have blocked the certification of a Democratic candidate who won her race for a seat on the state's high court. This decision overturns the lower court's ruling that found no evidence at all of election misconduct. Here are the details.
Over the election for a North Carolina Supreme Court seat continues. The Republican majority on the state Supreme Court blocked the certification of the results. Republican Jefferson Griffin trails the incumbent Democrat Allison Riggs by 734 votes. But Griffin wants 60,000 votes thrown out. He asked the Supreme Court to step in after the Elections Board dismissed his protest. Today, the court issued a temporary stay that will prevent certification. Griffin says voters who don't have a driver's license or social security number on file should not have been allowed to vote.
Yes, very, very Jim Crow of you sore loser. Listen, this is an ongoing story. We'll keep you updated as more news is made available. But this is a really good example of why it is so important for us to pay attention to what's going on at the local and state levels, right? This is where far-right extremist candidates gain hold in school boards and in, lower courts. So we have a lot we can do in 2025 outside of the realm of federal politics. Anyway, this is going to be an interesting week. We have to find out tomorrow whether or not the Supreme Court, or at least the corrupt illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court, is going to grant Donald's wish. We also need to find out from Merrick Garland if he is going to release the second report about the stolen documents case. There's such a thing called redactions, which could protect the remaining co-defendants. So this isn't just about holding Donald accountable. It's about informing the American people and also undoing the wrongs done by corrupt hacks like Aileen Cannon. So thank you all for joining me today. Please, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think of all this, and let's keep the conversation going. As always, thank you again for being here. Until next time, stay safe and let's stay informed too. Take care.